language to understand a complex topic. So the visual aid that can be used for this one is bar graph showing the benefits of multilingualism in learning outcomes. So the practical implication that can be done by teacher is to allow strategic use of native languages for scaffolding English learning. So we're gonna move on to the practical implication. So it for us as a teacher, it is very important to encourage the use of code switching as effective learning tools in English as a second language classroom. Like what has been stated here is that it clarifies instruction. It makes students to understand more and it encourages them to be more engaging in their learning. So that's all for my part, and I'm gonna pass it to the next person for the topic three.
So, hi, this is topic 3, gender and age in language use. I am going to talk about which is gender and age in language use, which is a very crucial part of sociolinguistics that every ESL teacher should understand. This topic focuses on how language varies across gender and age, and how we, as future teachers, can use this knowledge to create inclusive and effective learning environments. But first, let's start with why this is very important. Sociolinguistic competence help us to understand that men and women, as well as younger and older people, often use language differently. These variations are influenced by social norms, generational factors, and cultural expectations. For instance, younger generations like us may rely on slang, while older individuals may prefer more formal language. Recognizing these patterns allows us to view language as a diverse rather than correct or incorrect. So, next slide. Next slide. So, for the teaching part, teaching sociolinguistic awareness. As teachers, we can address differences in two ways. First, indirect speech. Women, for example, might use more indirect forms of request. Meanwhile, in tone and politeness, older generations may expect more formal language. And by teaching students when and how to adapt their language in specific social contexts, we empower them to navigate both formal and informal interactions. This is essential because it is used in real world communication. So, in the part 2, understanding social implications, language evolves over time, and understanding this evolution helps students first to recognize the cultural implications of their linguistic choices, and second, to communicate more mindfully in diverse settings. For example, teaching students how politeness levels or speech styles vary across cultures fosters cultural awareness and adaptability. Next slide. Okay, so for the practical applications of gender and age. So, to make this knowledge actionable, there are three classroom strategies. First is the gender and age studies. Teachers could assign projects where students research how language use differs across generations or genders in their communities. This encourages them to see the real world examples of sociolinguistic diversity. Second is the politeness strategies practiced. In this, teachers could teach students to adapt to their language, such as by using indirect speech or formal expressions. For example, they could practice asking for favors politely or responding formally in a professional setting. And lastly is the contextual role playing. This is by using the role play activities to help students adjust their speech to different scenarios. For instance, there are three examples: a casual conversation with their friends, an academic discussion, and also a professional interview. So, overall, of this topic 3 is that in It is incorporating social linguistic awareness into our teaching by not only improve students' communication skills, but it is also to boost their confidence and self-esteem. By validating different linguistic patterns, we create a supportive and inclusive environment where students feel encouraged to participate and to express themselves. So, by understanding social linguistic diversity, we can teach more effectively and prepare our students for real world communication challenges. And that is all from me for topic 3. I will pass it to the last presenter.
Halo. Oke. Halo. Dapat dengar nggak suara saya? Right. Topic 5, Discourse Analysis Studies. So based on topic 5, there are three significant approaches, which is conversation analysis, in short CA, interactional sociolinguistic IS, and critical discourse analysis CDA. So each approach offers unique insight and benefits, particularly in the ESL, English as a second language classroom. Next slide. Right. To begin with, the first approach is conversation analysis. So CA mainly focus on the spoken interaction, examining how people manage conversation in real life. For example, it involves studying turn-taking, repair mechanism, and other conversational structures. Moreover, by understanding these patterns, ESL students can improve their conversational skills, gaining insights into the implicit rules of spoken English. Thus, they learn how to initiate, maintain, and conclude interaction effectively, which is crucial for developing fluency and confidence in speaking. And then the second approach is interactional sociolinguistics. IS explore how language varies according to social context, integrating larger societal norms and values. For example, it considers factors such as power dynamics, social roles, and cultural background. Moreover, for ESL learners, this approach helps in understanding the cultural nuances and contextual appropriateness for language use. Thus, by examining real-life interaction, students can learn to navigate different social settings, to adapt their language accordingly, and become more cultural, mm, culturally competent communicators. And then the last approach is critical discourse analysis. So CDA examines how language perpetuates social inequalities and power imbalance. It focuses on the way discourse shape and it's shaped by society. In the ESL classroom, CDA encourage critical thinking and awareness of how language can influence perception and reinforce social hierarchies. Therefore, it helps students to learn and recognize bias, challenge stereotypes, and develop a more nuanced understanding of how language functions in societal context. By integrating these approaches in the ASL classroom, it offers numerous benefits. CA enhances students' pragmatic skills and conversational fluency, making them more effective communicators. Then IS foster cultural awareness and adaptability, essential for successful interaction in diverse environment. And the last is CDA promotes critical thinking and empowers students to question and challenge societal norms. Next slide. Practical application for discourse analysis studies. Right. For conversation analysis (CA), we have the conversational role play. So the teacher can design role play scenarios to practice turn taking, initiating, maintaining, and concluding conversation. Include repair exercise to handle misunderstanding effectively. So in this activity, the teacher can provide any situation. It could be in a restaurant, it could be in public places for the students to practice their speaking, and yeah, by role playing, um, they can practice turn taking, initiating, maintaining, and concluding conversation. So in the repair exercise, mean that they reflect their own strengths and weaknesses after the role play ended. Then we have the contextual language exercise in the interactional sociolinguistic. So the teacher can have the students to analyze real life situation, for example, a formal meeting versus a casual chat, which is informal setting, to identify and practice appropriate language choices for language choices. And for this activity, the teacher can provide a video, a media that show how people use formal language and informal language in their daily communicate daily communication. Blah. So during that time, that students can take notes and to analyze the language that the individual use in that video. For example, if the video is about formal language, and then the students can analyze it and take notes on every and hey, on every formal language that they heard, something like that. And then lastly, we have the bias recognition activities in the critical discourse analysis (CDA). So the teacher can use media or advertisement to examine how language reflects and reinforce power structures, um, guiding students to identify stereotypes or inequalities. So in this activity, the students can use the critical thinking to identify stereotypes and inequalities in any media or advertisement that the teacher show to them. Okay, so that is for the topic 5. And then next slide, conclusion. So in conclusion, sociolinguistic competence is crucial for ESL teachers as it enables them to teach language in its social context. These understandings help students to use English appropriately in various situations, enhancing their communication skills and cultural awareness. So that is all about our presentation for today. Thank you. Hop.
Ye, terpaling kau pues baca berita kau.
Ada thank you deh kah?
Ada.
Susah.
Oke, si pasan. Oke,
Bentar,
bye-bye.
aku
Thanks.
cek recording lo. Sebentar.
Udah?
Aku cek recording lo. Sebentar.
Lah kalau mun si nang bobuang ngay liog.